Sally. Thank you. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Tom. Always reminding me that I have the best view in the house up here. To see everybody. Happy Mother's Day again to all the moms and all whoever take on a motherly energy. For me, Mother's Day is the holiest of all the holy holidays, where we would truly honor and celebrate the aspect of the divine that is feminine, that is unconditional, nurturing, love, and support. Nothing lasts like a mother's love. Nothing haunts you like a mother's understanding of who it is that you really are or are meant to be. And I'm someone who's been blessed with a wonderful mom, but in truth, some wonderful moms, many of whom are in this church here this morning. And so we honor on Mother's Day our own moms. We honor all the moms, and we honor the feminine, the mom as it expresses through the divine or all of life. And to do something a little different this morning, I want to have a little ritual in that I want to light our memorial candle as we start the service. And it's an opportunity for us not only to honor our own moms, but anyone in your life who has embodied those qualities of the divine mother. And there's so many names, and what I'm going to invite us to do as that candle's lit is to say silently to ourselves or silently aloud the names of those individuals who you like to honor so that we can evoke their presence here. And to light the candle, I want to invite Darlene Harris to the stage to do so. And her mother's name was Cleo Bernice. She would have been 100 years old this year, which I was informed as well. This is the 100th anniversary of Mother's Day. Wow. And Cleo had 13 children, including Darlene. And Darlene tells me that she made sure all the kids were cared for, and I love her and miss her. So let us just have a moment as this candle is lit to honor all the moms in our life. Perhaps as we hear a whisper of someone's name, we just get that slight feeling of their story, of the immense tales of the individuals that have affected those of us who sit in this room today. What a powerful thing a mother is. And some words from Ernest Holmes that he wrote for Christmas, but I think they better suit us for Mother's Day. He says, asleep in the heart of cosmic love, unborn, universal, potential, the Christ child lay, and the great mother soul, brooding over her unborn child, conceived it in the stillness of her universal nature, imparting to it her own being. And I love that idea that we live our lives surrounded by a universal nature, imparting unto us its own being consistently through all the aspects of the divine feminine in our lives. And we have so much to learn from the divine feminine in life. My mom shares that I was a good kid growing up, and I tend to believe her, I guess. Last week I got to talk about Little League, and she reminded me, Josh, you should share with everyone that every year you won the best sport award when you played Little League. She was very proud. I would have preferred to have won the Triple Crown. That would have made me much happier. But I know as a teenager, my mom must have had a challenge with me in trust, you see, because I wasn't that different than I am now. And so she had to trust me going, what is this weird church Josh is getting involved in with a weird name, or when I was in high school, because I was pursuing this path, I wanted to get out early. So she had to trust me there. There's an important lesson about the divine feminine and trust, because a mom has to trust her deep knowledge of who her child is, recognizing there are times when she will know who that is better than the child will. And to have that trust, to nurture that trust, even when we children forget it about ourselves, the great aspect of the mom is that she is the holder of that truth, so that it can be rediscovered and re-known. Someone in my life who was like a spiritual mother for me, her name's Mary Feldman, and she's right there. That's Alan Coffey. She ran a teen program in Huntington Beach and sometimes would let Alan help. And one of the first times I met Mary, there was an offering taken that day. And I don't remember an offering being taken any other time in the teen group, so it was kind of funny. And when the basket got to me, whether I had $1 in my pocket or not, if I did, I was going to use it for something else. So I just kind of took the basket and was just going to pass it along, and she stopped me. She said, "No, blow a kiss in the basket. Blow a kiss in the basket." And as a teenage boy, blowing a kiss didn't sound like the most entertaining thing, but when Mary tells you to do something, you do it. So I blew that basket in, and you may notice during the offering time, I always think of Mary at least once. If she's here, I think about her once, but I always think about her again, because I always kiss that offering when I put it in. And it's, again, another deep lesson about the divine feminine, which is you give no matter what. Even if you have nothing at all to give, you give a blessing. And in the end, the spiritual realization is that the blessing's more important than anything that you could actually give. So much so that when we do give something, we should remember to tag that blessing along with it, to give it along its way. In ministry, when people who see me as successful ask, how is it that you're doing so well? How do you have this at such a young age, and all that stuff? The answer is support, and it's especially the support of motherly presences. Even in this church with Reverend Peggy or Reverend Margie, or so many folks here, so many practitioners growing up, to hold a vision for me to step into if I chose. That's all I had to do, was step into it. And I hope that everyone here, in some way, whether it was through your own mother, or again, even through a masculine presence, that those who were truth holders for you, that encouraged you to step into the truth of who you are. For moms give birth to us, but they are also the facilitators in the sense of our spiritual birth, of our awakening to who we truly are as individuals. Joseph Campbell called it the second birth. He put it this way. He said, "Here is a principal mythological role of the feminine principle. She gives birth to us physically, but she is the mother too of our second birth, our birth as spiritual entities." It's so important to experience the divine as it expresses the feminine qualities. Unfortunately, some of us maybe didn't have a mom who was able to fully embody the archetype, which is understandable because it's so big, right? But it's unfortunate when we get so attached to needing to experience the divine feminine through one person, especially if they're incapable of giving it to us, that we don't open up to receive it from others and the universe. As adults, we have to learn that our relationship is with the divine feminine through all things, especially when your mother isn't here in the way that she used to be for you. We must learn to open up and experience it through us, through that divine energy. Campbell goes on, he says, "This is the basic meaning of the motif of the virgin birth, that our bodies are born naturally, but at a certain time there awakens in us our spiritual nature, which is the higher human nature. Not that which simply duplicates the world of the animal urges of erotic and power drives in sleep. Instead, there awakens in us the notion of a spiritual aim, a spiritual life, an essentially human, mystical life, to be lived above the level of food, of sex, of economics, politics, and sociology. In this sphere of the mystery of dimension, the woman represents the awakener." The divine feminine is the awakening energy. It is the giving birth energy. It is the energy that opens us up to the realization of who we are, males or females. One of the difficulties living in such a patriarchal religious culture not just here, but just about everywhere, is that the feminine not only gets pushed to the back, but into the shadow. Since we know that so many women run things from the shadow anyways, it still gets out anyways. But it can become repressed in such a way. And it's important to understand that there is no such thing as a religion without a divine feminine power. It may be hidden, it may be hard to see, but it's always there. For those who study Judaism, as you get deeper and deeper into it, you learn about Sophia, the goddess energy of wisdom. For those who practice Christianity or Catholicism, we celebrate more and more Mary, who gave Jesus' mother, or we celebrate Mary Magdalene. In sects of Buddhism, we celebrate Kuan Yin. In Hinduism, it is not uncommon to pray to the Divine Mother. Yet if that feminine energy becomes so subjugated, we become really screwed up. We just do. We really lose our way. We see it in an extreme this past month, but so much further than that, in these girls being kidnapped in Nigeria, right? What's it called, the Firon Purdue or whatever it is, right? Which somehow is literally translated as anti-Western education. So we have this idea where the women and the feminine energy is being so subjugated that these young men generally think it is their holy inspiration to hold back, to enslave, to mistreat the feminine around them. And we look, we read in the paper, and we go, oh, that's what's going on way over there. But if we look in here, we may see that we have work to do everywhere, that the feminine is something that needs to be brought into the light more and more, and that perhaps it could be argued that it is the greatest ill condition threatening us as a human race, is the misunderstanding of the equality of the principle of the masculine and the feminine in all of us, and that it needs to be celebrated so we can wake up a little to our own truth. In religious science, in our denomination, we often say Father, Mother, God. We recognize a male principle and a female principle, and no, we don't get into this God is a man and a woman, and all because we're adults. We can get bigger than that. So we recognize the principle, and one of the ways that we talk about it is in the sense of what we call the creative process of how things come to be in our own individual lives. So we talk about the form, the body, the material, which is the result of both the masculine and the feminine. But what brings about our experiences or our conditions, we teach, is initially through the masculine principle, the principle of volition, the principle of free choice, the principle of giving, the principle of our attitude, our thinking, our choices. That's the masculine principle. Yet if we forget the feminine principle, we forget what nurtures those choices and those ideas. If the masculine principle is the seed, we say that the feminine principle is the soil. And that's Mother Earth, right? But it's silly to think of Mother Earth just as the ground. She's the whole damn thing, right? She's the sky too. And so she surrounds us. She uplifts us. She's always there. And so this feminine principle is what we call in religious science an invisible principle, yet that's probably not the right word for it. It's that selfless principle that brings forth and nurtures our deepest seeds of intention, of self-knowingness into life. What this feminine principle is often called, too, is the creative medium, or the law. And sometimes it gets really heady, and for me, the more it gets heady is the further we get from understanding the truth of what it is the divine principle. Ernest Holmes, in talking about this principle, says that the universe is impersonal. It gives light to all. It is no respecter of person. It values each alike. Its nature is to impart, ours to receive. And when we learn about the creative process, we do learn that idea of karma, like whatever you put into it, it's going to get back to you, whether you like it or not, because cause and effect, that's the way that it works. But I think a deeper level isn't that it's impersonal, but like a great mom who has many kids, she loves all of her children equally. So she seeks to impart the same love and same joy upon each and every one of them, but she leaves it to us to figure out for ourselves and in our own way. Yet what she again remembers is that deepest truth, that deepest love. So even though our thinking is attracting us and attracting circumstances to us, there's still that mother's love that is inherent in anything, everything, giving us opportunity after opportunity, relationship after relationship, in order to have that opportunity to reclaim and re-embody our deepest spiritual truth, our spiritual sonship, our spiritual daughtership, to embody fully who we are. There's a great quote from Corita Kent, who says, "Love the moment, and the energy of that moment will spread beyond all boundaries." To say that again, love the moment, and the energy of that moment will spread beyond all boundaries. It's the idea that it's spiritually, in a sense, scientific, that when we bring ourselves present to that feminine love and power right here and right now, it awakens. It is creativity. It is creativity. It is inspiration. It is that life essence, and we can bring it into all that we do as we discover the truth of who we are. To share a little more from Campbell, he says, "For the first years of a child's life, the father is simply the mother's hairy helper. There comes a moment then, somewhere around the third or fourth year, when the child registers the difference between male and female, and at that point the little boy must know that he is a man and is related to the role of his father. And the little girl realizes that she is a woman, and her main reference now is not to be mother, but to be woman. The father is the initiator into society and the meaning of life, whereas the mother represents both the principle of life itself. She represents that principle in both its beneficent and its horrendous roles. The earth gives birth and she gives nourishment, but she also takes us back. She is the mother of death as well, and the night sleep back to which we go." And that may sound a little grim, but it's that affirmation that the feminine energy is what is with us always. That it brings us to birth and it brings us to passing on. That when we truly awaken to it in our lives and utilize it, we recognize that it's like being wrapped in the arms of God's love the whole way through, when we can connect to that feminine power within ourselves. To view the divine as Father is a magnificent thing. It's an amazing thing to do, to see the support, the pride, the inspiration that comes from that. And it's an amazing thing, too, to see the divine as mother, as unconditional nurturing, as unconditional love. But there's something as well when we see from the eyes of the divine as mother, that we can begin to see the divine in our life as also like a child, as also like an infant, wanting to come into birth, wanting to come into form. That's the love we seek to create in our lives. That's the good we seek to create in our lives. And not to say that this power is powerless or needs our nurturing, yet in a sense it utilizes us to bring its truth about. Carl Jung put it in a mystical and interesting way. He said, "My God, I love you as a mother loves the unborn who she carries in her heart." So notice he doesn't use the term womb there, but he uses the term heart, that spiritually implanted in each of us is the son, is the daughter, is the Christ. And we are called to bring it about through our good works, through our good deeds, through answering and allowing ourselves to become at one with the divine, however it may appear to us. So just honoring that presence today and just taking a moment of prayerfulness, and you're welcome to join me if you so choose. We again just simply take a moment to honor the legacy of motherhood that has led to our own experience. All of those names, all of those stories, all of that work that has led to us embodying the person we are today. And may we also honor that legacy as it passes through us, as we practice it as well, as the divine has given birth through us, our children, our family, our chosen family, our expressions of life, knowing indeed that each of us is wrapped in that motherly love, that divine love, that it carries us onward and yet sets us free into this great world to make its truth known in love, in laughter, in forgiveness, and in realization of our deepest truths. We let it be in gratitude, celebrating motherhood today. And so it is. Amen. So thanks for your time, everyone, this morning.